Hi guys, so I'm talking to you from inside my polytunnel today, and it's just going to be a quick video. It's the first week in April. At this point of the year, last year, this year, I've got lots and lots and lots of ungerminated seeds. Seeds that I've sown in seed trays that just haven't come through for me. Now, around now, say first week in April, it's going to vary depending on where you are, obviously. I'm looking at basically doing my last round of like massive sowing for main crop stuff, and I've got the time today. It's bank holiday Monday, so I'm going to be sowing. Well, I'll show you. I've got a bag here with, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 different seed varieties in. I'm going to be sowing all of them. Fingers crossed for these guys. This will be, you know, by the time these seeds have come through, I'll have at least some of everything I want. Now, we'll be sowing all through the year. We sow right through till September, October, we'll be sowing seeds. Because, as you know, we're going to want successional planting. We're going to want things like carrots, for example, which is a fairly quick crop. Not the quickest, but we're going to be sowing them every month. So every 4 weeks or so, we're going to sow a load more carrots. One of the first things I want to talk to you about is what we're going to do with the seed trays for things that haven't germinated, because I've got a bit of a tip there for you that I don't know that I've heard anywhere else, but for me it's just really common sense and simple. But I'm just going to step outside and show you one of the things that we're going to do with our carrots throughout the season, and one of the things that I've done over the last day, 48 hours, to get set up. Now, we've got a few frosts coming, so everything that I sow now, we're going to leave in the polytunnel, obviously. We're not going to do any direct sowing today. We've got our main vegetable bed up there in the distance. We've got this polytunnel. Now, this polytunnel is going to house all of our warm crops. So our tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. This is going to be the hub for those. This is where not all, but most of those are going to be grown. This polytunnel is sat in our perennial bed. We've got our strawberries there. We come through, we've got our asparagus. And then down here, we've got raspberries, grapes, globe artichoke, goji berries, and also a few pots back there of different things. I'll just have a quick look at the asparagus bed. So this time of year, this is going to be the last weed. We'll give this a weed later, and then that should set this up for the season. Oh my goodness. Look. It is, so it's about the 5th of April, something like that. Look, can you see? That's our first asparagus spear popping through, and this is the 3rd year of these crowns, so we'll be able to harvest these properly this year for the first year. I am so excited about asparagus, I can't even tell you. It's one of my favourite vegetables to eat. It's really expensive to buy, and it's really simple to grow. You just need a bit of patience. I think I'll probably do a dedicated video on asparagus a bit later in the season, but just that one at the moment. One little spear poking through, but goodness me, what a fantastic sight that is. But out here, what I've done over the last day or so, I've prepared all these pots, because we do some of our growing we do in containers, even though we've got the space. I prefer it that way, and carrots is one of them. So these here are our 5 carrot beds. So we've got some growing already, but we're going to sow some out here. And they're not going to germinate in the next week or so because we've got really cold weather coming. But after that, they'll sit there quite happily, and then they'll germinate after that. At least that's the plan. And we'll just sow one of these every 4 weeks to give us carrots all through the season. But just having all this set up, being set up ready beforehand, makes such a difference, to me at least. Because sometimes it can seem a bit overwhelming, particularly if you're going to plant so many different things like we are. I've just shown you sort of 40 or so little packets of seeds that we're going to be sowing today, and if you feel, and I feel sometimes, that it can be quite overwhelming, so what I've done is I've spent the time doing all the prep work beforehand. So as you can see, our polytunnel's all set up, we've got our table there, and as we sow things, they'll move down onto the floor, and then we can re-sow. But I've also just filled up loosely some of these pots down here with compost. Did this yesterday, and I gave them a quick water, because when you buy compost, well, whatever compost you get, it can be quite clumpy, but by moistening it the night before, these are going to fall apart nicely. They're just going to readily crumble, giving us a much nicer seed bed. Now, of course, purists out there will say it's not a seed compost, and they'd be right, and there are 100% there are advantages to using seed compost, but for a multitude of reasons, it's something I personally have never got round to mastering, and you know, it's on my list. And maybe later in the season we'll have a closer look at seed compost and I'll learn a bit more about it. But for now, I'm using regular compost because that's always served my needs, and I accept that I'm not going to get perhaps the germination rates that I would get if I used a dedicated seed compost. So I'm not for 1 second saying you should do it my way. I'm just showing you my way. I'm just showing you what I do. That's all I ever try and do. So, like I said, it's quite cold out there today, so it's nice to be in this polytunnel with the door shut. And yeah, I'm all ready to go. So I wanted to talk to you about the seed trays that haven't germinated. So back here we've got 5 pots which were all sown with cucumbers, and only one of them has germinated. In here we had cauliflower, only a couple of them germinated, and then that was due to the dog running all over them while they were in the house. We've got some other things that just haven't germinated at all, some tomatoes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sow the same thing straight into those same seed trays, because I don't know why they haven't germinated, and there's lots of different reasons it could be. It could be overwatering, underwatering, in which case those seeds are probably done. But it could just be that the soil temperature never got high enough. Some of these were in our house, and our house is not that much warmer than the outside. So it's quite possible, and I'm looking at you, tomatoes, it's quite possible that they haven't germinated just because the soil temperature never got high enough for long enough. Now they're in the polytunnel, that might change. Why are you telling me this? Well, because by re-sowing them with new seeds, the same thing, a couple of things are happening. Firstly, I'm getting to sow them without having to mess about. I get to use all the same markers and everything else. But also, if those seeds in there, and again, I'm talking mainly about the tomatoes, if they are going to germinate, now that the temperatures are rising, I'm still giving them every chance. So there's a small chance that the seeds that are in there are still going to germinate. And by not throwing them out and starting again, it gives me that opportunity. By not taking the seed marker out and placing something else in there, again, gives me that opportunity. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm just going to be doing lots and lots of sowing. So another little tip for you, something else I'm doing is, so I've got my seed tin down there. I've got some more seeds in the house, but I've got in here separated out already all the seeds I want to sow today. So anything that either I've already got enough of in the garden right now and I don't want to succession plant the next lot, or anything that's too early to go in, like sweet corn or whatever, they haven't made it out with me today, or they're in that tin down there. These are what I'm actually sowing right now. But I've brought the other tin so that as I go, so we're about to sow a few courgettes into these pots, and then once I've done that, the remaining seeds go down in the other tin. It's just another way of staying organised, staying motivated, because I can see this bag gradually going down as I work, and I'm not dealing with loads and loads of seed packets scattered all over the place. As you'll know, I use these slate seed markers with a Tipex pen, because fingers crossed, this is my first year using them, but fingers crossed I should be able to use them year after year after year. They're also free, you know, you can make them for free. If you're interested in that, I'll put a link to my video all about those in the description. So I just wanted to share with you that I'm taking it out of one bag, moving to another to help stay organised. Makes a big difference. So we've jumped forward in time about 90 minutes, maybe a couple of hours. Difficult to keep track. And we're all done. So we've got lots and lots of everything now. All sown. We've got some seedlings that are a bit further on, which are in the other polytunnel because there's still plenty of space in there. We've also planted some of our tomatoes in the ground. But this is basically what we're looking at here is our food for September, August, September, October, November and beyond. We've got all sorts here. We've got herbs, we've got chilies, we've got cucumbers, tomatoes, lettuce, everything, just, you know, just everything. Beans, all of our beans, we've now planted our seedlings. But I've just been able to do it because of the forward planning and because I did a lot of the work yesterday, and it just made the idea of coming to do it much, much less daunting. So I'm just going to pack up now and get in and cook dinner. So thanks for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed, press that like button, leave me a comment, all that good stuff. You know the drill. and I'll speak to you really soon. Cheers.